Good evening, Papua New Guinea, and thank you for joining us for another episode of Business PNG for the year 2015. Relative newcomer to the Savings and Loan Society and part of the Bank South Pacific family, BSP Finance, is making waves in the business world despite being a few months old. Business PNG spoke to country manager Jodi Herbert about BSP Finance's client base and products. Earlier this year, Bank South Pacific Limited introduced its newest subsidiary, BSP Finance. In November 2014, BSP Finance opened its first branch in Suva, Fiji. This was subsequently followed by the December opening of its PNG operation in Port Moresby, and consequently the launch took place on Monday the 2nd of February in the nation's capital. BSP Finance offers the business houses of Papua New Guinea a new alternative for their asset finance needs.
BSP Finance is a specialist asset finance company. We only deal with businesses, and we provide finance for plant, machinery, equipment and vehicles to support the growth of customers that operate in various business sectors.
The BSP board are confident that customers will find BSP Finance a helpful and open-minded business partner in the future. The establishment of this entity will enable BSP to extend its financial and lending activities into broader sectors of the local economy throughout Papua New Guinea and the South Pacific.
There's a big demand. As everybody knows, the LNG project was a huge thing in Papua New Guinea, and there's so many other projects that are online in the next few years. So the opportunity for businesses to develop into those sectors is certainly there, and equipment usually is the sort of the foundation and building blocks for medium-sized businesses to develop into bigger businesses.
BSP Finance won't offer a full banking package on its own, but complements BSP in the areas where opportunities currently available to support existing and potential new clients. BSP Finance will be in a position to engage the assistant of the bank's existing asset finance team to assist with restructuring, refinancing, and offer new and innovative ways to improve its customers' asset finance business for more complex transactions.
The beauty of dealing with a BSP group is that we can do everything. We're not sort of restricted by having to just do a portion of what a customer needs. So it's a great advantage for us. Like I say, we structure a deal that is going to be working for a customer today and in the future. It's not just a case of doing a single deal today. That's not what we're about. We have like I say, very fast credit process, but also not reckless. It's something that's well managed and with the customer's long-term needs in mind. It's just a situation where we're building a partnership, and that's our aim.
The new subsidiary aims to offer fast approvals, fast settlements, a prudent risk appetite, and in conjunction with BSP Bank, a one-stop shop for finance and banking needs.
We look forward to dealing with all customers that have a need for our type of services. Just to reiterate that we're business lenders, so we're dealing with customers who are IPA registered, usually that have some sort of trading history, and that have accountant prepared financial information. The bank handles a lot of the SME type operations, and so we're sort of the opportunity for people for established businesses that are looking to grow and looking to develop into larger businesses. And we have great capabilities in those areas around fast turnarounds, speedy approvals, flexible credit terms, and we're priced fairly. And we're looking to develop long-term relationships with these customers, and we can also offer them the one-stop shop when it comes to finance. In conjunction with the bank and the bank's extensive branch networks, really there's nothing much that we can't do as an organisation, but BSP Finance is the new catalyst, if you like, in this marketplace to enable us to do these things.
BSP Finance is headed by Jodi Herbert, formerly the bank's Bank Corporate's head of asset finance. Jodi has had 10 years' experience in the PNG asset finance market and has recruited a very capable and energetic staff who are soon expected to expand their offices and move into a bigger location at the Gordon's industrial area.
I am the Senior Lending Officer for Port Moresby branch, and basically what I do is I visit the dealers and look for business, and also call up clients and go visiting clients for possible business.
We've been operating for the last 6 months, and I've got an active client base of about 21 customers, and these customers are currently paying back loans to us.
I'm a lending officer. I actually specialized I'm a specialized officer for the Highlands region. We have right now there's a lot of clients up in the Highlands and who are operating there as well as here. So there's a really big number. Okay, right now my current portfolio since January is about 7.7 million. That's the amount of businesses I've brought in, basically heavily based up there, yes.
Parent company BSP Limited is reinforcing its strength as a major player in the banking and finance industry in the South Pacific region. BSP management reaffirms that the formation of BSP Finance stems from the need to develop a strong, portable asset finance capability within the BSP group.
We're growing within Papua New Guinea very quickly. We have a fantastic dynamic team, which I'm very proud to be part of. As I say, we're growing internally, but we're also looking at other offshore opportunities. The bank has purchased the Westpac assets in the Pacific, outside Papua New Guinea and Fiji, and so we're looking at those areas, and we're researching other opportunities as well. So it's a very active drive on our space to be providing these services in all markets that we operate in.
Coming up on the show, yet another commercial bank introduces a new SME development program. Stay with us. ANZ Banking Group Limited recently announced the money-minded SME Business Basics program for its customers and the wider small business community in Papua New Guinea. Business PNG had an exclusive chat with CEO of ANZ PNG, Mark Baker, as he elaborated on the program. SMEs are described to be critical to PNG's economy due to its role in generating new employment opportunities and in spreading the economic benefits. The Australian New Zealand Banking Group Limited recently announced the money-minded SME Business Basics program for its customers and the wider small business community in Papua New Guinea. Money-minded is an adult financial education program developed by ANZ in 2002 in consultation with community and government stakeholders and education experts. The program was launched here in PNG by ANZ in 2010. Since its introduction in Australia, Money-minded has been used extensively in assisting minority and disadvantaged groups.
Money-minded is a free financial education program. It offers you a series of interactive activities and resources to help you improve the way you manage your money. ANZ developed Money-minded with community and government stakeholders and education experts. It's delivered in partnership with community organisations. Since 2003, more than 240,000 people have participated in the program. 8 in 10 people who completed Money-minded felt less stressed about the future. The interactive activities cover a range of topics, such as goal setting, budgeting, and managing debt. Each activity takes between 8 to 15 minutes to complete. You can log on at any time and save your progress along the way. You can also access a bunch of useful tools and resources. Share your money tips with others. And read how Money-minded has improved the money skills, knowledge and confidence of other Australians. Thousands of people across Australia have experienced the benefits of Money-minded firsthand. We all want to feel more confident and in control of our money. Get started with Money-minded today.
Designed to educate participants about how to set up and manage a small to medium-sized business, the program will target startup or existing companies, promoting sustainable growth for both the SME sector and the PNG economy as a whole.
So the ANZ Money-minded for SME program is really designed and aimed at the small business community in Papua New Guinea. What we're doing with the program is we're really breaking it into 4 parts. The first part is the vision for a business and how a small business may think about what that vision is. The second part is how to set up the business, so IPA, tax, these kind of things. Third part is then actually how to plan for a business, so we help them with business planning and the like. And finally, it's about how to grow a business, which is obviously the most important part. The way we deliver it is through a facilitator. It's workshop-led. It's certainly not like a lecture-based program. And really what we've done is we've taken a lot of the learnings from Money Minded for individuals and how successful that has been in terms of delivery and applied it to small business.
ANZ CEO of PNG, Mark Baker, said that ANZ is pleased to provide its customers and the wider SME sector with the Money Minded SME Business Basics program, a significant milestone in the commercial bank's support of small businesses in PNG.
The business community for some time has been calling out for these kind of programs, and there's a few out there already. And the government have got some pretty ambitious targets for the number of SMEs that they want to have. I mean, the target growth is 450,000. So the actual program actually came out interesting as a result of a conversation with the Prime Minister some months ago, where we were asking what he would want us to do. And he said, look, education for small businesses is really, really important. So we went away and then looked at what we do already with Money Minded and then just reapplied it.
SMEs account for 97% of all enterprises and employ over half of the workforce across APAC economies.
We've taken the lessons from how successful individual financial education has been through Money Minded and really applied it to this. So it's a workshop. It's not a lecture program. It's very easy for people to get involved. The only documentation that's really needed is the facilitator. The rest of it is really material that people can bring along or is easy at hand. It's run by our staff, by volunteers, so it's part of our community, our corporate social responsibility. So because of that, we're not trying to sell bank products. It doesn't actually matter where people are from. They can bank with any bank. It doesn't have to be with ANZ. So it's genuinely something we want to give to the community and really leverage the expertise that we've got and the experience that we've had. So it's completely neutral. Anybody can come along and it's free. That's the other thing.
Money Minded is ANZ's flagship financial literacy program designed to boost financial inclusion in communities where ANZ operates. So far, Money Minded has been successfully delivered to some 2,000 people in Papua New Guinea since it was introduced in 2010. ANZ has had a presence in Papua New Guinea since 1910. Coming up on the show, another edition of the OBG Corner. In this edition of the OBG Corner, editorial manager of the PNG Report, Mark Venditti, chats with KK Kingston's Michael Kingston.
Good evening and welcome back to OBG Corner. Tonight our guest is Michael Kingston from KK Kingston, one of the largest manufacturing company in PNG. Michael was born here, he studied in Australia where he completed economics and is back in Lae where his company is based to contribute to the growth of the national economy as well as his region. Michael, thank you very much. Welcome to the show.
Thank you, Mark.
Since I arrived in Papua New Guinea, everybody keeps on telling me that Papua New Guinea is not only Port Moresby, and the reality is somewhere else. Nevertheless, when you come to Lae, that's where your company is based, you do feel a little bit that Papua New Guinea, though it's a little bit Port Moresby center, in the sense the infrastructure is a little bit behind and everything else. Is that a fair assessment then?
Definitely a fair assessment, and it's become more acute, I suppose, over the last 5 or 7 years. Obviously, Port Moresby has been moving ahead in great strides, leaps and bounds even, whereas I think other regional centres of Papua New Guinea have perhaps lagged behind.
Okay.
But it's nice to see that, particularly in the last 18 months or so, the government is investing a lot of money in developing infrastructure outside of Port Moresby.
Okay. And you do see actually the result of that in
Absolutely,
Lae?
definitely. In Lae, for instance, the roads are probably the best they've been in the last 10 years, perhaps 15 years. Still a long way to go, mind you, but it's nice to see forward motion.
Still coming from the airport is a little bit bumpy.
Hey, absolutely, but hopefully in another 2 years when they finish the job, it'll be a very nice road.
I see.
Same thing with the Lae Port. Lae Port has improved tremendously over the last 3 years or so. And we went from a point where there was huge congestion, literally dozens of ships queued outside the port waiting for a berth, to today where everything pretty much docks on time, goods move fairly efficiently.
I see.
Definitely improvements.
So tell us about the potential of Lae. Everybody talks about Lae as the hub, manufacturer hub, not only for Papua New Guinea, but perhaps for the region. Is this real, it's a real possibility, you think?
Well, it's certainly true, I think, that Lae is often described as the engine room of the PNG economy. Approximately 60% of all imported goods come through the Lae port. And Lae, I guess, is of strategic importance in that it provides a distribution hub for access to the highlands and the New Guinea islands. So yes, Lae is of strategic importance, I suppose, for the PNG economy. It's not the manufacturing hub that it should be yet. I think there are a number of impediments to growth of manufacturing industries still to overcome, but there's a lot of potential, absolutely.
I see. Manufacturing provides a lot of those jobs that Papua New Guinea will need in the future.
Absolutely.
Nevertheless, it feels that the country and the government perhaps is still too much focused on an extractive industry. I mean, we can see why.
Of course.
But on the long run, it's not sustainable, is it?
Absolutely correct. I mean, if we look at the total number of people employed by extractive industries, whether it's mining, oil or gas, the number is absolutely dwarfed by businesses like agriculture and manufacturing. Many more Papua New Guineans are employed by those two industries than the extractive industries combined. Also, it's far more sustainable. Everyone accepts that at a certain point in time resources will be spent, the gas will be used up or the gold will be used up. What then will create employment and growth for the country moving forward? Hopefully manufacturing, agriculture provides some of those answers.
I see. Nevertheless, the sector has sort of felt the completion of the LNG, the PNG LNG. Numbers are not as good as you would expect in manufacturing at the moment.
Absolutely. I think we feel it across every sector of the PNG economy. You know, we had 5 years of extremely strong growth, and at the completion of LNG construction, it was a very quick and sudden stop for everyone, I think, manufacturing included. But that's a good thing. We can't grow at double-digit figures forever. Sooner or later things have to slow down. We have to consolidate.
It's also unfair sometimes to benchmark the performance of the country with those exceptional years. And perhaps you should look at more of an holistic approach.
And a long-term thing. And I'd also argue that perhaps GDP is not necessarily the best metric to use in these situations. Something like GNP might be more relevant. Because, for instance, GDP is heavily influenced by the volume of LNG that's being exported. Now that we're in the production phase, very few people are employed by PNG LNG. And so the direct flow-on impacts for the PNG economy of these vast gas exports aren't felt so widely. So GDP can be a little misleading.
It is, I understand. I agree with that. Nevertheless, manufacturers are saying infrastructure is just not there yet to support the industry, and at the end of the day, if the tariffs will be brought down as much as APEC is saying they should be by 2018, many people are saying there will be no manufacturing in PNG. Do you agree with that?
Partially, yes. Infrastructure presents a major challenge to manufacturing businesses in Papua New Guinea, and not only manufacturing. The transport industry and so on is also badly affected by this. And we're facing the twin squeeze. On one hand, the increasing costs of doing business due to these infrastructure constraints, at the same time diminishing tariffs and ever-increasing competition from regional and global players. So yes, manufacturers generally are feeling the pinch. But I think it's probably over-dramatic to say that come 2018 there will be no more manufacturing in PNG. I think these challenging situations force all of us to relook at our business models and find more creative, more competitive, more efficient ways of doing what we do.
Talking about business model, your company is quite interesting. I mean, you're one of the largest manufacturers, as we said. You're doing some interesting project. When I was in Lae, I was quite interested to hear about. You want to tell us about it? Biodiesel, for me, by far was the most interesting. You want to tell us about it?
Yeah, absolutely. So we have a long-standing business in packaging cooking oil for resale and distribution in PNG. And we noticed that our scrap factors were approximately 1%. And we're putting through, let's say, 1 million litres of oil a month. So 1% is quite a substantial amount. There's around 10,000 litres of oil that's wasted. And we're looking at this and thinking, hey, there must be a productive use for this waste, which shouldn't be just thrown away. And we came up with the idea of converting it into biodiesel. We've run a number of small trials internally, just running small 500 litre batches. We've run 6 vehicles and a number of our gensets on it. It's working very, very well.
Fantastic.
Yeah, so it gives us the opportunity to go from just wasting this stuff to turn it into something that's productive and beneficial, and perhaps something that's a source of a future competitive advantage.
When you hear that sort of stories, though, you think like that technology exists, the capacity exists. Why there is not more of that? Why do we keep on relying so much on the conventional forms of energy?
We're far from unique. There are a number of companies around PNG that are doing the same thing. I'm aware of, for instance, a agribusiness on Kakar Island that is also generating biodiesel from the coconuts that they produce. What's interesting is I think the media perhaps and the business community don't give enough attention to the good news stories that are out there. There are so many examples of PNG companies doing creative, innovative things, even world-class projects, that they don't get the attention. It seems that we often focus too much on the negatives. But there are a lot of positives out there, absolutely.
So I have to take the blame indirectly then.
Perhaps.
I'll be happy to take it.
There are as many good news stories out there as there are bad news stories, absolutely.
Yeah.
But what I think the message is that those companies who want to stick to their old business models and simply complain about the way things are going, they probably won't have a future. Those businesses who are willing to adapt and evolve to the changing conditions in PNG, you will survive and prosper.
You have to be innovative to stay afloat.
Absolutely.
Would you say that really your goal when you came back to PNG? Is that what you wanted to add to the mix? Your experience international, your energy, your will to get things done?
I wanted to make a contribution. I mean, before I came back to PNG, I worked in the development sector for a while. So I'd worked with AusAid and a number of other NGOs. And my particular specialty was microfinance. I'd always been interested, I guess my goal was to try and leave this world a better place when I die. But I found working in the aid sector that I felt I was spinning my wheels at times. And we had some successes, but very often we got tied up in bureaucracy. You didn't feel like you were getting as much done as you would like to. I came back to PNG and it gives me the opportunity to get my hands dirty. And albeit in a smaller environment, we have a company of about 800 people. It's a smaller environment, but I can make a real tangible impact every day.
So Michael, it's not a coincidence that somebody like yourself is back in PNG. We really feel that sort of brain drainage that we have seen in the past is coming back, and a lot of intelligent people are looking at PNG as an opportunity. Is that really a trend? I mean,
look, I think it's true, and perhaps it's partly because the global economy is softer and more difficult than it was 5 or even 10 years ago. People are looking at PNG and thinking, hey, there are opportunities for me back at home. I also think that perhaps this is a pattern that's repeated in many countries over time. I mean, look at the Chinese experience. We've seen a lot of overseas Chinese returning back to China to contribute.
That's true.
We've seen this in many other countries around the world. Perhaps it's just a part of the development of the nation. But it's certainly a trend is beginning, I believe. I'm far from unique. There are a lot of other young people who've grown up in PNG who are coming back who want to leave their mark on the place.
I see.
That's a good thing.
What do you think PNG can actually contribute to a regional level, not only domestically?
PNG definitely has a leadership role to take up in the region. PNG is obviously the largest economy. Geographically, it's the largest country in the South Pacific. Economically, it's the superpower of the region. So PNG has to step up and take a leadership role amongst the Pacific Island groups, in particular the Melanesian group, but in the broader South Pacific. And I think we're seeing that, particularly with the current leadership, and even with the last government. There's a greater level of engagement with regional and global organisations to cement PNG's position in that leadership role in the region. That's
it's happening.
It's happening.
It's happening.
And long overdue.
Well, Michael, thank you very much. Last thing I wanted to ask you, I know that you're doing some also interesting development with the company. You're developing a 10 hectares of land for a single site of distribution. You want to maybe tell us about that?
Yeah, absolutely. I spoke previously about all of us need to identify ways of being more efficient and more competitive. Now, we'd identified that with our current configuration of 6 different manufacturing and distribution sites in Lae, it was very inefficient. We were wasting money by moving goods between our sites. So we identified in the long term we need to have a single site for all of our production and distribution operations. That'll take vast amounts of cost out of the business and make us more competitive in the long run.
I see.
So we've procured this large 10-hectare site, and over time, between 5 and 10 years, I suppose, we'll be investing nearly 100 million kina to develop that and turn it into what we hope will be a world-class manufacturing operation in Lae.
And I will be very happy to come and see it. And
please.
Thank you very much.
Pleasure.
For welcome to the show. Yeah.
Thank you, Marco.
Thank you very much for watching this episode of OBG Corner. Stay tuned. Next week we'll bring some more exciting guests to talk about current affairs, politics, and news in PNG. Thank you very much.
And that's all we have for you tonight. For more business news, if you would simply like to view this episode again, visit MTV online at www.mtv.com.pg, or to join the conversation, like our page on Facebook for daily business news, or follow us on Twitter at Business PNG using the hashtag Business PNG. Until next week, have a pleasant evening. I'm Leanne Durari, and this is Business PNG.